Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I wanted to take a bit of a deep dive into Illuvium's core game model because I've been watching a lot of other small crypto games launch and absolutely die because I feel like their models are just horrible, and the whole pre-selling of NFTs that are used in the game is just creating this massive price hike at the start of the games because you have to buy them to get in, and then it's all collapsing, and it just makes for a really bad community, a really bad experience for people, and just overinflated prices to get into a game, which leads to everyone leaving and just the whole thing crashing. So I wanted to talk a bit about that because Illuvium, and I could be completely wrong on this, and I do think that these models will evolve with new games that come out and we will find a better model. But the way Illuvium is pretty much, when you look at it, just a trading card game. Illuvium is pretty much, when I look at it, and I will explain it in depth, is pretty much just Pokemon cards is the way I see it, with, you know, the battle functionality in the game, just digital Pokemon cards. And I think it's the best model for a sustainable economy and to keep the game flowing through high and low times. But like I said, a lot of these other games, I guess Illuvium had such good fundraising, so it's able to do this. A lot of these other games rely on those NFT sales early on to, I guess, make their money, to be able to sustain themselves. But like I said, it's sort of like a catch-22 where they're just killing themselves in the process. So let's get into it. Okay, so first off, I'll just look at a couple games and show you what I'm talking about with these economic models. We have things like Fate and Arena. This is the in-game token, not the governance token. The governance token took a crash too, but everything has in the market lately. But I just wanted to look at this, because everyone in the space is coming in to earn money. I feel like people would come in to play, but because prices at the launch of these games are so expensive, people have that want to earn money, whereas if the prices were low, it would be more of a drive to play and maybe earn a little bit. Because if we look at something like Heroes and Empires, this is a perfect example. I was in this ecosystem more at the start. So at the start, during the launch of this game, some heroes on the market were selling for about $800. Those same heroes down here are selling for about $6. So you can see how people just want to play, but because you have to pay so much to get into it, once the incoming new players drop off and the prices go down here, it's like you've just been burned. If the prices were more balanced, or there was another way to get in without having to buy heroes off a marketplace, for instance, what Illuvium does, where you're essentially buying packs of cards for a stable low price, it's easier to get in for people and experiment without having to spend a bunch of money to get in. But once you've spent a bunch of money, you feel entitled to get something back, but then you don't, and then everything just crashes. So that's where I think these pre-selling NFTs that just completely hyperinflate in price at the launch of games and then completely plummet once there's no demand for them anymore, it's just a bad model. But let's jump into another one. This is Defina. Defina did the same sort of thing. It had this massive hype. This one is very heavily driven by influencers and stuff like that, pumping it, pumping bags. I'm pretty sure there's seed tokens out there and IDO tokens that people are trying to pump. But I'd be very careful with these things because it's just once there's not the demand anymore, it's just the dump. Yes, you can pray that someone, pumps it and then, your bags get doubled and then you can sell out. But, when you look at the base level of people playing it and people coming into the game, some of these just don't have the power to stand up, and especially when they come from such a high price before the launch of the game. Then if we have Axie with the popularity curve, and then we die off with the SLP, and this is just something that we're going to see more and more. So what I wanted to look at with Illuvium is, this is a post by Kira. Now take this with a massive grain of salt. These figures are probably nowhere near what things will actually be in the game. We don't really know. This is just a very rough thing. So don't take this as what it is. This was just more people talking theory early on in the Discord. As you can see, it was from, what is it from? January, February, March, April. April, shit, I don't know my months. So I'm pretty sure this is in Australian terms, so the 7th of April. But yeah, this is very early on, so, don't quote this, please. I just wanted to have something on the screen while I spoke. So, massive disclaimers out of the way. So, with Illuvium, when we look at the first thing obviously is going to be gameplay. I think Illuvium gameplay looks fun. it's up to you. I think a lot of people can agree that the open world looks pretty fun. Now, I think it looks really fun. I know some people think it's a bit empty, but I personally think it's going to be so enjoyable when you're actually playing it yourself, looking for those alluvials to catch, mining resources, all that sort of stuff. I feel like when you've got an objective, there's no doubt that the open world is going to be sick fun. Plus, you got the mag boots, you got the jetpack, you got exploration. It's going to be really, really nice. Now, the auto battler, I do see a lot of hate in the auto battler side of things in the comments of my videos and stuff like that. I think auto battlers is a tough one to make look flashy when you're just trying to present it, but when you play auto battlers, if you've played them before, once you understand mechanics and you understand the theory crafting behind them, it's really, really engaging. However, I still understand that some people won't be into that type of thing, but that is up to you. Obviously, if everything goes well, they will produce more game type, like more games around the alluvials. So, that will evolve. But the basic core of it is we've got fun gameplay, obviously speculative on, your terms of what you call fun. But then we've also got, you can play for free and get a good experience. Now, the thing I love about the free to play side, and this is where Illuvium was genius with their creating the open world, is the open world is a really fun experience. Like I said, I'm going to stop putting the disclaimer out every time I say it, but it's a fun experience. And you can experience that free to play. You can experience capturing alluvials free to play. You can experience battling alluvials free to play. And you can have that whole experience. And like if a gameplay cycle takes you 40 minutes to go explore and catch alluvials, you'll sort of get immersed in the game and enjoy the game. Then it becomes a case of, if you want alluvials, you don't have to buy them off the marketplace. You can go and pay a travel fee and cure some shards, and away you go. So the thing that gets me really curious on this whole side of things is, as you can see here, Kieran's, these are rough figures, so definitely take these with a grain of salt. It's nowhere near finalized. But if we had a $10 travel fee and a curing fee of $20 for a shard, now as I understand it, with the shards, they're like your Pokeballs, and it's basically $20 to activate your Pokeball and make it work. Now, if you don't catch an alluvial with that shard, I believe you keep the shard, so don't stress on like failed captures and losing $20, even though that's probably not the price. We'll have to wait and see. But essentially what it is, you're curing these shards and paying a travel fee, and that is like your pack of cards. So say you wanted to catch, 3 alluvials on a travel, that would be $70 based on this. Not saying those are the numbers. And, that's your pack of cards. So instead of going and buying something off the market for, say, $40, you could pay $30 and go for a travel and catch one that you want. Now, I think that is just the best model. And because it is the best version of Gotcha, for those that don't know what Gotcha is, it's basically just summoning random things, opening a pack of cards, that sort of thing. And because in mobile games, Gotcha is so addictive, trust me, I've been there for a long time, and just summoning in games where you click summon and then you get something random is really addictive. I think with the Illuvium model of having a whole gamified version of that, where you're actually going out exploring, finding these encounters and then beating them and then choosing which ones to capture, like which cards to pick for your pack, I think that's going to be like the most enjoyable experience for Gotcha. And keeping in mind, some of these alluvials will have like probably less supply, so they're harder to find. So like you're going into all these battles hoping you find that one alluvial, and then you finally find it and then you defeat it, but you still got to capture it. I think it's just going to be a very enjoyable experience. But what you can do is you can play on the free-to-play side and get the experience of the game and have fun, which is where these games are meant to be going, into having fun. And then, kind of like Pokemon cards. When I was a kid, I get my allowance. The day I get my allowance, I would run to the shops and buy a pack of Pokemon cards because that's all I wanted. So I'd get my Pokemon cards. And I think that is what the beauty of this model is you won't get an incredibly toxic community, because with these other games, you have to buy teams. You have to buy stuff off the market if you even want to participate. Whereas Illuvium, it's free to play. You can get that experience, figure out if you like it, and then go, okay, I'll spend a little bit, get one travel and one cure, and then, see what I get from that. Now, on top of this, the interesting thing that I'm waiting to see, and I will make very advanced videos about this stuff when the game does come out, is the idea of you pay your travel fee, and then you've got your cost for curing your shards. So you need the travel fee to travel. You need the shards to be able to catch the alluvials. But then we do have the added effect of mining and also picking plants. to craft things. Now, I don't know what the market value of those things are going to be. I'm going to say it's going to be fairly cheap. However, a lot of people with a lot of in-game credit that have been staking, myself included, will be just traveling to purely catch alluvials. So I feel like it leaves an opening. Like me, myself, I will not be like going out to mine, because when you travel, you have an energy limit, and I would rather use all my energy to catch alluvials as opposed to mining or picking plants. However, people who don't have as much, if they pay for that travel fee, so they're now traveling into a paid area and they can get those better mining resources and plants, but they, only have enough for like 1 or 2 shards to cure, they can go on that travel, catch their 1 or 2 alluvials, and then after that spend the rest of their energy mining and picking plants, which can then be used. You can then sell that stuff and use it as input into your next travel. Now, obviously the market is going to set its own feet on where the value on those things are, but it does give you that little option to be able to recoup a bit of the money into progressing into your next travel if you're trying to space it out because you don't have the funds to put in. So I think it's just an amazing model where it's literally just play the game, except in trading card games like Pokemon, if you wanted to play the Pokemon game, you can't actually play it unless you buy cards. I used to play competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Can't play without a deck. In this, you can play for free. So it's like everyone gets a free deck just for entering into the ecosystem, which is amazing. But you get to pull cards to build that deck, which is the fun experience. So I just think all around it's going to be really nice. Now, the one thing I really wanted to note, in case people are looking at this thing that we're looking at, the sell price of alluvials being $100. I definitely think this was just an easy way, like $100 was an easy way to represent the percentages of what goes where, the IMX fee, the seller fee, and then the DAO fee. I don't think that'll be it. Like to me, if a curing a shard is $20, like this is just using ballpark figures. If a shard cure is like $20, I'd expect the average, and you've got like a $10 travel fee, I'd expect the average price of alluvials on the market to be around like $25. And obviously, as you get like higher tiers, it'll be more expensive. But I feel like if you're spending $20 to cure a shard and catch something, you're not going to be selling that for $100, because like anyone would look at that on the market and go, well, why? I'll just go. However, you will get those whales that will come in and just dump money into it. But the thing I like about this is, due to the fact that you're not forced to buy things off the marketplace, when the game launches, you will see probably some ridiculous, I think the first max level tier 0 to sell will be actually really expensive, because a whale wants to get ahead. Like I'd probably even buy that to try and get ahead to get into further zones to get world first captures on certain alluvials. But like those prices will be heavily inflated due to whales who don't care about how much they're spending. They just want to get further. But the good thing about that is the whales who are pushing to get this, like spending this on the market, will not be impacting the regular players who want to have fun, because if those prices are stupidly inflated, you just play the game instead. So that's where I think the launch of Illuvium is going to lead to way less salty people and like a much better community vibe, because there's not going to be people being forced to spend ridiculous amounts of money and then that goes away instantly. So there's a lot more to it. For instance, the fact that like I said, I think Illuvium is just going to be a fun game. I think there'll be people out there like me who just like collecting things. Like I'm going to try and collect one of every alluvial, every evolution stage, holographics, all that stuff, and I will just keep them because like I'm a collector as well. Like I've still got my whole base set of Pokemon cards that I got when I was, I don't know, I think I finished it when I was like 13 or something like that, and like I'm a collector, so I've held on to that all that time and I'd never sell it. And I'm going to be the same with some alluvials. Like even my first ever tier 0, I probably won't be able to sell that because it'll have that bit of memory in it. So I feel like Illuvium's just got a bunch of extra things on top of all these other games, and it's just a much better quality than anything that we've seen released so far. But yeah, like I said, that model of it basically being Pokemon cards but digital, with, different competitive uses, you got to consider the fact that, they release another game. I'm a big one for getting an Illuvium shooter as the next game, because I feel like the whole thing's almost modeled out. You've got the maps, you've already got like the shooting mode with the dart gun. Who knows? But whatever they choose to develop next, you then have those for that next round. On top of that, the other thing that the other problem that a lot of games have is they have limitless supplies of some of their heroes. Like you can just keep summoning and getting them and getting them and getting them, which means your supply just keeps going up. And even if you introduce burning mechanics, you're always going to have more supply than you have burning. Whereas Illuvium, where their alluvials have bonding curves, where after say 6 months, there's going to be no more of that alluvial, or whether it be 12 months, whatever the time frame is. That then adds value to those alluvials that we're capturing back then. And then in the future, they have more value because they're more scarce. So I think all that combined together is going to make for a wonderful experience. And I just wanted to touch on this. I'll probably not even go deeper into a whole video on this topic. But a lot of people talk about how are you going to balance the game when people are spending money. Card games, I played Yu-Gi-Oh! One of the decks that I bought towards the end of my Yu-Gi-Oh! Competitive days, I spent $3,000 on a deck. Then basically everything on it got put on a ban list and you couldn't use it in competitive play. And the value of my deck went from $3,000 to about $150. Like, it already happens in the world. It's just about gauging what's overpowered and what's not and playing the market as it is. But I don't think Illuvium's going to have drastic changes like that. It'll be more even balanced changes. On top of that, you do have mobile games where people spend thousands of dollars every month, and those games get balanced. And it's just something that happens. You've got to have balance in a game. If you don't, you're going to destroy it more than if you balance something and hurt a few people. So play it smart when it comes out. We'll do a lot of content on that sort of thing. But anyway, I think I can shut up now. I just really enjoyed this topic. When I look at the model, I used to love Pokemon cards, dude, and then Yu-Gi-Oh! I just love opening packs, and I think this is going to be the funnest version of opening packs that there is. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing the next one. Cheers.